Hello, I am Andrew Arcana, and I wanted to talk about memorizing tarot cards. There are a lot of people on the forums that I haunt who are asking, how do they memorize the tarot cards? How do they memorize all 78 cards? And I think some of this can be very simplified, and some of it can get a little complex, but for the most part, it is simple. And the less you stress about it, the better you'll be. Is a situation where a lot of readers do get more from putting their intuitive process over the designations given to each card. And, I'm assuming, though, that if you're asking how you memorize the cards, you're looking to actually put the intuitive process in a different place. You'll always need some intuition to tie the cards together with the question, the querent, and all the other information to create a narrative. I personally benefited by learning the traditional designations of the cards, and I'm always still learning myself, but this is my success story. That doesn't mean it will be yours, but these are my success stories in doing that. The first is to spend time with your tarot cards, and you please be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. But this is my first piece of advice, and everything else I'm going to say is going to expand on that first piece of advice. Just spend time with your tarot cards. And as always, don't stress about learning it right away. Learning this is going to be a series of small victories for most people. It's going to be laying out a spread a month from now and realizing that you are familiar with these cards. It might just be one or two of the cards in your spread, but you'll be more familiar with them and you'll recognize that you've got it. You're getting it slowly but surely, and it's that surely part that matters. There is one trick that I learned from people who do put their intuition first, and it is good advice. Regularly thumb through your deck. Just look at every single card in your preferred tarot deck. Hopefully you do have one preferred deck. And look at anything that really stands out to you. And it's going to be what stands out to you. I can't tell you exactly what that is. But make sure that every once in a while you just pass all 78 cards across your line of sight and look for things that are interesting. Right? Keep it fun, keep it interesting, keep it compelling. Reading for yourself every day is also an extremely helpful practice. That daily reading can be one card. Most people seem to have a sweet spot around 2 to 3 cards. Personally, I do a 5-card horseshoe spread as my daily reading because I want to see the interplay between cards. But 5 is kind of what I would suggest as an upper limit. If you can actually do a Celtic cross every day for yourself, and you're learning a lot from it because you've got an eighth of a deck out on your table every night, do that Celtic cross. But for most of us, it's around 3 cards plus or minus a couple. I also put a 24-hour time limit on every one of my day ahead readings. What should I think about during the next 24 hours? That way they don't overlap with each other, they don't conflict with each other. That 24-hour time limit is perfect because it'll be 24 hours before I do my next day ahead reading. So one of the other ways that I familiarize myself with the cards and that I suggest is an online course. But the first thing I'm going to say is that you do not need to pay a lot of money for these. There are the popular ones that I've seen that can run like $300, and it is more real time. You'll probably get a little more interaction out of it, but you do not need to spend that kind of money unless you want to. I am going to give some praise to a course that helped me, and I'm going to make sure that's linked to. But keep an eye on sites that you might not expect, like Udemy, that will sell online courses about just about anything. Right, I found Udemy learning to code, but they have a lot of spiritual courses, meditation, and tarot, and things of that sort. And it was Udemy where I found a course by a woman named Sal Jade called Tarot Card Success, the Complete Tarot Reading Course. This isn't sponsored. It's the one that I took, but I love it. And she has a very vibrant community around her of people who are learning and growing. And it seems to be working for a lot more people than just me. So keep an eye out on that one, because you can often get it for under $20 US dollars. And every rare once in a while, it'll even go for sale under $15. Now, this course does focus on the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition, and she even suggests that you have the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, although one that's really close to it, such as the Modern Witch, that uses almost all the exact same symbols. That'll get you through if you already have it. And she also only teaches the upright designations of each card. There is a separate course, I believe, for reversals. If it's not out when I record this, she does announce that she's working on it. But that course at 9.5 hours long was more than enough to get me a really great start. And although I'm recommending this one, there are a lot of budgets. The reason this one worked for me is there are regular quizzes. So I started taking notes. Every back-to-school season, I buy a bunch of spiral notebooks. I designated one of those just for this course, got a pack of cheap ink pens, and just started scribbling notes as fast as she was speaking. And I used those notes so that I could ace the regular quizzes throughout the course. And what I found was I had also an easier time memorizing the cards, and I had to start to what became my own personal study guide. So on top of finding a course, which is optional, but it can help, my next idea, my next concept, suggestion, is to make your own study guide. Creating your own study guide is a great way to spend time with your cards while not actually reading with your cards. My advice would be to do kind of what I did on accident. Start with a cheap notebook and mechanical pencils, cheap ink pens, whatever. Do a very rough first draft that you don't mind getting things wrong in. And once you know what your personal study guide should look like, and it will be personal to you, that's when you can get the nice notebook, the nice journal, the nice blank book, and really start to make your nice version of your study guide. I think of it as something similar to the way that other practices describe a book of shadows. This is going to start getting personal to you. It becomes a diary of your journey and your growth and all the things you learn. And most importantly, it becomes the way that you teach yourself, because you will always be your own best teacher. So as you read any other sort of book, as you consume any sort of media, even as you read your tarot cards, if you find some insight that is very relevant to the way that you read and the reasons you read, it goes in your study guide. And as a tangent, I do strongly suggest that when you do your nice version, get a comfortable pen or pencil. I am fond of Sharpie brand ink pens because they're a felt tip, you don't have to press very hard, and I have almost no hand strain from doing it. But whatever's comfortable to you, go ahead and splurge a little bit alongside your notebook and get something that will be comfortable to write with. And I mentioned books earlier. Reading books starts to become how you can learn without actually reading with your cards, another supplementary resource. And choose those books by reading reviews and blurbs and the free snippet at Amazon where you can click look inside. Get a feel for each author, because I'm a nerd. I prefer very nerdy and technical books. My all-time favorite is Tarot Deciphered by T. Susan Chang and M.M. Moline. It is my most valued and most well-used book on the subject. But if you have a more intuitive approach, there are books that will help you probably more than they would help me, and vice versa. Mary K. Greer's Tarot for Yourself is a popular one. Surf around, find the books that resonate with you, and go spend a little time with them. You don't have to read it all in a week like you've got a book report to, but have it there, skim through it when you've got a few minutes. Llewellyn and Red Wheel Weiser are constantly publishing new books with new and modern perspectives, again, from the nerdy end like myself to more intuitive, more newcomer-friendly books. And there even is a push, it seems, for intermediate books. And Audible as well. They have some great books, audiobooks, mixed in with some that look more like the $5 rack at the big chain bookstore. But they do have Rachel Pollack's 78 Degrees of Wisdom. And it does seem that, again, Llewellyn and Red Wheel Weiser are both very invested in putting at least some of their new books on Audible. So, and on top of that, there are some podcasts that do things like look at the cards one episode at a time that you could look into and just have that running in the background while you do your daily tasks. And my last part is remember the rest of your life. Remember that you have other interests. Don't forget that you're still the person you've always been. Take time for the other hobbies and the other interests and the people that have always been in your life that are already there. Continue being that same person you've always been. Do your day ahead reading. Enjoy some quiet time with your books or your podcasts or your audiobooks. Set aside a few minutes a day to work on your journal, but keep being who you were before you picked tarot up. Spending time with tarot is, in my opinion and experience, the best way to commit these cards to memory. And it's a little bit of time every day will do so much more than a fast and rapid burnout. So please keep being yourself. Please be kind to yourself. Please be patient with yourself. And please celebrate every small victory in your learning process as that victory comes. And good luck.